Hey everybody, what is up, and welcome to episode 10 of the Flatland Immersion Podcast. Hey guys, how are ya? This is Dusty recording from Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada. How you doing? Thank you very much for tuning in for today's episode. Today is episode number 10, where we hit double digits. I'm pretty stoked we made it this far, so thank you guys very much for tuning in. Today's show is a special one. Today's show, my guest is Bobby Carter. Pretty much everybody knows who Bobby Carter is, but I guarantee you there's some people who are listening who don't know. Bobby Carter is, a new friend of mine, and he runs the media website Diversion TV. If you guys go to Vimeo.com, his page is called Diversion TV. Bobby has traveled the world pretty much on the subject of Flatland BMX. Kind of a dream a lot of people would love to do someday, and he's done it, and is still continuing to do it. I reached out to Bobby a couple months ago just to see if he'd be interested in doing a podcast with me. He got back pretty much right away. He was pretty stoked, so we ended up just setting it up for whenever, but he found out I was doing a trip to Hawaii. My wife and kid and I went to Maui, and Bobby was cool enough to just say screw the Skype call, and he jumped on a plane, flew over and met me, and we had an awesome day together. The entire day we just hung out, we talked about Flatland, we had good coffee, we just chilled, we went to the beach, swam a bunch, and yeah, the vibe of this podcast pretty much grabs the whole day, like in its entirety. The whole trip was really special. It was good to get a break, get away with my family, and just turn the phone off for a while. But, most people come back from a trip with lots of pictures and just kind of vague memories. But I'm pretty happy that I got to come home with this. This podcast is a really vivid memory of something that I got to do on this trip, and to do it with somebody like Bobby was just really special. For those of you who don't know, Bobby lives in Hawaii. He lives on a different island though, so it was really generous of him to fly over. So Bobby, I know you're listening, dude. Thank you so much, man. Like, I still can't believe that this happened. And yeah, for everybody listening, I hope you guys just take it in, man. This is two dudes who just really love Flatland. Myself as an amateur, I really just got to sit back and ask questions and learn a lot about the history of Flatland here. So for the other people who are new to riding, the other amateurs out there who are listening, I know you guys are out there. What's up? This one's for you guys as well as everybody else that just loves Flatland, man. Nothing but peace, love, and positivity in this one. So Bobby, thank you again, man. You guys check out his website, check out all of his social media. He is at Bobby Kamani, and check him out. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned. This is part 1 of 2, so I'll drop part 2 next week. But thank you guys. Enjoy it. Peace. I don't know, man. Like, we'll just let it roll here and we'll deal with it. But like, I don't know. Just think, like, contacting you to just do a podcast on Skype, and you just said, yeah, fuck it, I'll jump on a plane and come out to Maui.
Yeah, dude.
And just meet me. I seriously can't thank you enough for doing this.
No problem. This is awesome.
Like, so cool.
This is like this kind of stuff that you gotta like kind of do to make your life awesome. Like,
yeah,
I just wanted to experience it. Like, I live in Hawaii now, so come over to Maui for a day and then go back home. Like, dude, I need to experience that. You know what I mean? So this is awesome. Yeah, no, it's really kind of you to do it. And also, I wanted to solid high five on being the first in-person interview. Okay, because like everything I've done so far is over Skype, which is awesome. But there's just, I don't know, even like you and I being able to cruise around and just see some stuff and hang out, it's been like just cool. And like the bonus of Flatland to make friends and stuff on top of it is like super cool. So, and we tried to rent snorkel gear. Yeah, but the ocean, they shut down the ocean because of tiger shark spotting. Yeah. I don't know. It would have been alright. Like, that guy very easily could have just said, yeah, I'll take your money and have fun snorkeling. Yeah. I think you have some angry customers coming back like, hey, we couldn't even use this stuff because, like, the beach is closed down right now. Yeah. So I got my ass bit by a shark, and thanks for telling me. Yeah. But, no, it's cool. We'll try and go rent some more gear later in the day, maybe. Yeah, maybe they'll open the beaches again. If not, we can still go for a swim. Yep.
Because it's super sunny out, and usually by this time every day the wind is blowing up crazy, and so far
it's been pretty calm today.
Nice and chill. Worst comes to worst, we'll just hit the pool.
Yeah.
It's
nice
so
too.
can float in the pool. So let's start with the easy stuff. Obvious question as far as Flatland goes. How old are you? How long have you been riding?
I am 42 right now, and I've been riding since 4th grade, since I was like 9 years old.
4th grade?
Yeah, since I was 9 years old. That's when I got into it.
Flatland.
Really? I wasn't riding every day in 4th grade, but around 9th grade, that was something clicked in my mind. And I was like, I want to ride as much as I can and get as good as I can at this. Yeah.
So you started riding, like, because most people when they start riding, they like ride park or like what all their friends are doing, but it was really Flatland like that early?
Well, Flatland was the most accessible, but in those days it was a freestyle. It was freestyle. So it was either you're racing or you're doing tricks. So whether you're on a ramp, Flatland, dirt jump, whatever, you're doing tricks and it's freestyle. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like doing, you know? And I was already like every kid jumping curbs in the neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it wasn't until like my friend brought a magazine, I think it was BMX Plus, to school, and he was like, man, that's Eddie Fiola, look at him. Look at him. He was like all stoked, and I like look at it and I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like, this is like a real thing. Like, yeah, we're jumping curbs and stuff, but this is like something where you can like, there's bikes, there's tricks you can learn, and dudes are like pro riders. Like, there's this whole world of freestyle that I didn't know really even existed. It was just like, you got a bike, a dirt bike I called them, you know what I mean, which was a BMX bike, and you're just jumping around and building jumps or whatever. But I didn't know, you know, sponsored riders and teams and all that kind of stuff and videos, and
that's cool, man.
I had no idea, and I was like, this is awesome.
That's really impressive, because like I said, I started with street a little bit when I was like probably like 13 or 14, and like skate parks are fun, and like jumping curves and grinding like, you know, ledges and stuff is like it's super easy, and all your friends are usually doing it, whether they're on like BMXs or skateboards or rollerblades or whatever. But like Flatland, I knew was out there, and like there was one guy in our town who I'm actually still friends with now, shout out to Jeff, but like he Flatland like rode, and he tried to teach me some stuff, but it's like at that age I don't know, I was a moron. Like, I just didn't have any kind of mental comprehension to like stick with something so difficult.
Interesting, yeah.
So it's like kind of weird I came back to it later in life, but like it's so much easier to kind of gravitate towards what your friends are doing with like, you know, following the crew around, grinding ledges and drinking Slurpees outside of 7-Eleven. But like to dig into Flatland, like what was it about it that really sunk its teeth into you, as far as like it's got to have something special? Because
I mean,
how hard it is.
I guess at the beginning I really wanted to ride ramps, but there was no like half pipes or anything around, and it was like I said, it was freestyle, so you're just doing tricks, and it, you know, it was like Flatland and ramps and this and that, but like really it was all about doing tricks. It didn't matter if it was like a trick on the ground or a trick in the air or a trick anyway. It was like, these are tricks, do you want to do them or not? You know what I mean? And I wanted to do them. And so it just so happened that, you know, you can go to the park and just start riding Flatland. You can work on a Flatland trick you may have seen in a magazine or something like that. And so and I would do all that stuff, like, and then I noticed that the kids in the neighborhood would like, they'd be down to go cruise around the mall and like jump the curbs and all that stuff, but then like eventually like I'd want to learn how to do like a tail whip or something like that, and I would just start working on it or whatever, and they kind of weren't really into trying to sit there and like work on it, but I was like totally into trying to work on and learn these tricks or whatever. And
that's impressive, man. Like that really is impressive. And it because I just think about what I was like at that age, and I was just like I don't know if it was attention span or I just didn't know how to learn yet. I don't know, for it to grab a hold of someone that young is like really, really cool.
And I mean, I don't know, it was the 80s, it was big, you know.
True, yeah.
And I don't know, I was kind of on the young side, you know, for that era. I remember because I was in like 4th grade, but the bus had to stop at like well, then it was like junior high. They didn't have middle school.
Okay.
And the junior high, dude, the whole bike rack is just filled with freestyle bikes. So it was Haros, GTs,
Really?
Red Lines, like all up and down the bike rack. That's all
awesome.
it was. And I would see the kids come out after school because we get there first, because we were in 4th grade. We get there first, and then the older kids would come out.
They like stagger the two.
We went to a different school.
Oh, okay,
My sister and
okay.
I went to a different school.
Yeah.
So we'd get there first, and then the kids would come out. And I remember seeing a dude doing a pogo, and he was standing. I was like, dude, what are these handles? I was like, what are these handles that they're standing on? And like, and I saw a dude doing pogo, and I was like, that is just so awesome. And I saw a kid bunny hop a curb, and I was like, dude, I want to do that.
Yeah. Just mind blown right away.
and that was it. I didn't think about like anything else. I was just go and do it, you know, like
That's
learn
so
it.
cool, man. Yeah, that's good. I mean, like, I grew up kind of like as X Games were like really popping off.
Oh, okay,
I
I
guess
see.
so. Like, yeah, but Flatland was part of the X Games at the time, so it was like. But yeah, I mean, you look on TV and like Flatland was like ridiculous and amazing, and it looks like magic. But I don't know. For me, it was like. I looked at the dirt jumps or vert ramp, and I was just like, duh, like wandered over to that stuff. I'm like, wow, that stuff is like, I don't know, it just grabbed me more. And I don't know what the shift was for me later in life. But like, yeah, there's certainly something that if it does get you, it really gets you.
But I mean, at that time, it wasn't like I was like, ooh, all Flatland. It was just like freestyle. Like, so it was like, I'm gonna go build a jump and jump the jump, and then I'm gonna go learn a tail whip or something like that, and then you know, we heard that there's a mini ramp somewhere, like let's go try to find it and ride it, and then come back. It was never like I just Flatland. Like by the time X Games came around, the whole sport had kind of like splintered off into their little silos of, you know,
disciplines or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess that's maybe kind of a weird thing about getting into it when I did, was there wasn't that like kind of just freestyle. It's like, it was very like Flatland is a discipline. Dirt jumping is a discipline, and all those disciplines are very non-applicable to each other, even though I think they are, but it's like, it's
whatever you make it. But basically I can see that when you jumped on in that point in the timeline. You know?
It is weird. I found it so late. It really is. It's like so funny. I telling like my friends, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a BMX and I'm gonna start flatlanding, and all my friends are just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, I was 30 at the time, and I'm like, I'm gonna start flatlanding. And they're like, whatever, man. Like,
they don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So you grew. So one thing I didn't know, I thought you were from Cali.
No,
You're from Michigan, which makes sense because you dropped some stuff about Michigan in our text thread. Leading up to this. So you were you born there? Or?
Yeah, I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and stayed there till I finished university.
Cool.
And I stayed there till I finished university, and I rode all the time, you know. And then I moved to California to go to graduate school. So that's when I moved from Michigan to Los Angeles, and then obviously the scene in Los Angeles, that was kind of a golden era actually for the LA scene, like around 99. And there were so many riders. That's crazy. It was amazing. It was like a dream. When I got there, I was like, this is a dream. Like, you know, I knew where I was and I wasn't gonna waste it. Like, I started driving. I remember the first time I went to Huntington Beach spot. I didn't know how to get there. All I knew was that it was off the PCH, and there was a hotel. I was like, that's all I need to know. And I just got on the PCH and just started driving towards Huntington Beach. And I was like, eventually I'm going to see this hotel. And I did. And I got there. And like Dylan Worsley's out there riding. And I'm just like, no way. That's and like sweet, Dylan's man. Like super nice. And like we started riding. And then all of a sudden Edgar Placencia rides up. And I'm like, it's Edgar. What? You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa. And then like I went back again, and there was like Sean McKinney showed up, and then sometimes Dave Smith and Nate Hansen, and like all these dudes that I just seen like in the magazines and like on video and all that kind of stuff. Dude, they're all there. I'm like, this is it, dude.
That's amazing.
Like,
that's so cool, man. It's like, I don't know. And you also mentioned to me on the drive that you moved out there, which actually makes a ton of sense now for film. To go to school for film. So like, for you to time it so well with that scene, like, man, that was just a banging scene at that time.
I mean, it was it was just how it worked out, you know.
Yeah.
So
no, it's so like kind of my theme. Obviously, the podcast is called Flatland Immersion, but like immersion in a sport is like the way to really like, especially like I guess internet was like a thing then, and I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
But like you, yeah, to move out to a scene like that, like you know, you said you rode with John Dowker and like
yeah, in Michigan.
back in Michigan.
Yeah, in Michigan, I rode with John Dowker, this other dude Josh Evans, another guy Rob Olkoviak. Those are like the three dudes I rode with like the most.
Okay.
There were some other guys that came through too, like Derek Callender, who still rides and stuff. But I rode with those dudes like
Sweet.
all the time.
Huh.
Yeah, Dowker and Josh especially, like almost daily, basically.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But to like immerse yourself in that Huntington Beach crew, like that's like
Oh
man.
yeah, and it wasn't just Huntington. I mean, there was like the Cal State crew.
Okay, yeah.
That's on the East LA. There was the Hollywood crew, which was like Stefan Sarah and Hollywood Steve Toggy, those dudes. There was like the Venice Beach kind of side, and then there was Long Beach, Oceanside, Huntington Beach, Redondo Beach. Like there was just like riders all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Man, that's super cool. Like I don't know, especially if you're real hungry too at the time to learn and progress. Like there's no better way to do it. It's, I mean, obviously you can do it if you live like I live on an island. so
yeah, I mean,
I'm hungry as shit for progression, but it's like, yeah, you can do it either way. But to do it where you're fully immersing yourself in a scene, especially if you have an excuse where you're out there for school and stuff too, like there's no better way to do it. Like
yeah, it was awesome. You know what I mean? And then the magazines were there, Ride BMX, BMX Plus,
right.
Quaman was out there, all that stuff. Then Biz House, Sick Child, all that stuff started coming up. Like, dude, it was a crazy time.
Did you ride with Ed Nussbaum?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I like. What do you know? What happened to that guy?
Oh, he's
like,
still, well, he doesn't really ride as much as
No.
he used to. Like, he's married and has like 2 kids.
Cool.
Career job and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's kind of super busy.
Yeah, I bet.
On that end
I can
of things.
understand that.
Yeah, yeah. But he's still there. He's
Cool.
still there in the area. We saw him at the One Love Jam or whatever.
Sweet.
The post jam session the day
Nice.
after. It was cool.
Huh.
It's nice to see him again, actually.
That guy's riding, like, for the time, especially, was just amazing. It was,
Oh, yeah.
It's just like totally off the wall style.
Yeah, he was doing concepts that have been like totally lost now. Like,
Yeah,
way ahead, actually.
that's cool. It's tough to find footage of him. There's like your diversion stuff, and then there's like some contest footage. I think probably the stuff I've watched the most of is like there's a Flatland Fury was a contest that went down. And
that was like East Coast stuff, I think.
he had a couple runs in that. There's a bunch of guys. I think James McGraw I've watched his run a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like I love that footage.
Yeah.
That's like Flatland was big then.
Yeah, James McGraw was in Michigan too for a bit too,
Cool.
on and off. Yeah,
I'd like to hook up with that guy. I think he'd be a really fun guy to hang out with. I've seen him. He looks like he likes to party. So.
he has a lot of energy. I'll just say that he just has a lot of energy. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. I'd like to reach out to him at some point. But like, so in that crew, did you find that like you had being immersed with that crew?
Which one? We were talking about Cali scene.
Yeah,
or
I was talking about Cali scene,
Okay.
or either. Like it's just you. Did you have like some real like staple dudes teaching you as you went through it, or was it just kind of the scene was just there and you just kind of like fed off it to do your own kind of learning?
Scene's just there.
Really?
Feed off it and do whatever. There was a little bit of difference between California and Michigan.
Really?
Michigan was just like you kind of feel like you're removed from like everything in the magazines at that time is California.
Okay.
Like they don't really branch out that much. I think like when Jared Sooney or whatever got in ride, he's from the East Coast, so he's trying to like give East Coast some extra coverage and stuff like that. But living in Michigan, it's like you're just watching videos of dudes in California. You're looking at, so you're kind of removed and you're just seeing all these tricks and you're just like, I'll just learn whatever I can. You know what I mean? You're just riding with people and with your friends and like that's pretty much it. But when I got to California, you know, it was like a different kind of attitude towards riding where everyone was trying to be original.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it was just like, make up your own tricks.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, that's what people were doing. So were they really teaching? Not really.
Right.
But were they pushing and progressing, which was going to make you ride harder? Yeah. You know, dudes are riding every day and want to ride as much as they can.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's kind of like a what do they call it? Like a melting pot of like ideas for Flatland or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's kind of like working on their song and dance and riding together and you know, sometimes trying to film and all that kind of stuff too.
Japan seems like it kind of would be. It seems like the same kind of idea. You see some really bizarre styles all across the board in Japan. Like, it's, I don't know. For some reason, I haven't been, obviously, so I'm just talking out my ass here. But
I've been there like 10 times. I haven't been there since 2014. I really don't know what I'm talking about compared to you. Yeah. But I can tell you this, like, in Japan, it was like nothing goes to waste. There's like no style, no trick, no anything that goes to waste. Whereas on other places or more other areas, like maybe they'll let certain tricks go, or people don't do those tricks anymore. Like they don't let like any trick kind of go to waste. Somebody somewhere is like working on, whether it's decades or like lard yards or front wheel stuff or back wheel stuff or two brakes or no brakes or both brakes or whatever. Like nothing goes to waste in Japan.
I think that's sweet. It seems like there's no trends as much. Like you do see different bike setups, you see tricks that like just like uncommon, like because there's definitely seems like I love any type of like I respect any type of Flatland for sure, but like you definitely see some areas where it's like you couldn't find a brake lever if you paid someone $100 to find one. Like it's just everybody's moved on and this is what we do now kind of thing. Whereas I think like I mean again I haven't been there, but it seems like there's different setups, there's different trick styles, there's different trick eras still going on. That, like
just watch that video, the Discovery. That the latest one that they just put out. Like it's amazing. Like you see so many different riders with so many different styles.
Cool, man.
Just out there riding to ride, you know what I mean? And like it's awesome.
The filming in that is really beautiful too. From I have seen it. I just for some reason it's not popping like super fresh in my mind. But I'll definitely watch that one again. It's homework for me.
That video is like amazing.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. So like one thing I was really curious about, because we were texting and you I did know that you did a lot of the first kind of BMX stuff on the internet. But one thing I do specifically, vividly remember from when I gave Flatland a very brief 2-month try in like whatever I could have been late 90s, was there was a how-to on this website and it was you 100%. And like, which is funny, I'm sitting next to you now, and that was like fucking who knows how long ago, but like
that was like 95, 96.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Probably more 96,
because I for sure watched that and was like, I'm gonna go out and try and learn a mega spin, and like I just again I didn't have the attention span to do it, but like that was the only way for me to learn, really. Like like, you know, I live somewhere where there's not really any scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that saw those videos, actually.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So you're legitimately were the first dude?
As far as I know, I'm the first person to put a BMX video on the internet. Because when I, like, you have to remember, like, in that era, this is before X Games. And so BMX is basically still in, like, quote-unquote, the dark ages.
Okay.
Like, the 80s is done. You know what I mean? Like, everything's, like, it's just hardcore underground stuff. And the internet, nobody even knows what an email is. Like, you ask anybody, oh, what's your email? What is that? You know what I mean? So the only people that actually did have emails or did anything with the internet was university students.
Right.
And maybe some, like, real hardcore enthusiasts in the internet or something like that.
That's sweet, man.
And so there was only, like, maybe, like, 10 web pages. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even go and say website.
Right.
I'd say web pages that had anything to do with BMX at the time. Yeah. And so, and there was no video. Like, having video, like, you got, like, now you just take it for granted. Oh, your camera's digital. Everything's digital. You just connect it to your computer and that's it. No, it was all analog. Everything was analog. So you had to, like, convert it to digital and have, like, a video card and all the stuff that's going to, like, actually capture this stuff. Or digitize. Right. It wasn't called capture then. It's called digitizing. And like, and I happened to have it because I was all into video and stuff. So I had some way to get video from my analog camera into the computer. And then I was like, oh, I have a web page for my university. You know what I mean? They give you like 5 megabytes or something like that.
Yeah.
To have a web page or something like
Which
that.
is hilarious to think of.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I just learned how to put a picture on. Can I put a video?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And then I was looking, and they were like, oh, U of M, University of Michigan doesn't really support video stuff and this and that. And I was like, but I don't understand why you don't, like, it seems like it should work. You know what I mean? I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking, and they're like, and like nobody knew, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna try. So I was at home, and I had to, like, I don't even remember how many megabytes it was. But
Okay.
maybe like a little over 1 megabyte or something.
Damn.
Or something. You remember those 3.5 floppy disks?
I remember
like,
floppy disks for sure. Yeah.
So the video was like, I had to like split it up across like 4 or 5 floppy disks.
Whoa.
Take it from my house, go to the computing lab,
Uh-huh.
and this is like winter, like 95.
Okay.
Because I was on winter break when I did it.
Yeah.
And I went to the Angel Hall Computing Center, and at the University of Michigan, and like you pretty much make it like an installer. So you put in the first disk, and it'll copy it. The next disk. You get to the 5th one, and you go back to the first one, and it completes it, and now you have a file, and you can
Whoa.
open it on your computer.
That's sweet, man.
You know what I mean?
Fucking
Like,
headache.
Right? And so I did that, and then I uploaded it, and then I was like, okay, I have to download QuickTime.
Okay.
I downloaded QuickTime, and then the video played, and I was like, this video plays. And I was like, awesome. And then I put it on my webpage.
Okay.
And so the first clip of BMX is the Flatland clip one, and it's Josh Evans at our riding spot.
That's sweet, man.
And actually, I have it on my phone here. Actually. So yeah, I'll show
Which
it to
you
you
can bring
later.
up in like a matter of seconds if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Like,
and so that was the very first BMX clip on video on the internet. Now it's like crazy. Everyone just
my
does
God.
it. There's no YouTube, none of that stuff. Like, so you gotta, like I said, there's like maybe like 10 websites total
that's crazy.
that even
man.
had anything to do with BMX.
Which in the grand scheme of things is like, 20 years or whatever is like the blink of an eye in technological advancement.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
just the difference. Like nowadays, like you can GoPro your session, and
That's what you're supposed to do. You know, connect it to your computer and
Yeah.
like put it on YouTube or do whatever. That's what you do. Like,
you have an Instagram edit.
yeah,
you can
you're
do on
supposed
your
to put
phone
it on Instagram. Yeah,
as you're like doing your post ride
Yeah.
like snack or whatever. It's like
yeah.
and
So-
it's that's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
so
That's super impressive.
in those days, it was like a bunch of people started seeing the site, and then
Uh-huh.
I started getting emails. I got an email from Brazil, and this dude was like, "I have some videos. Can you post them?"
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Sure, just send me one a day because my email can't handle it." You know what I mean? Like, and he sent them one a day, and like it had stuff with Marcos. Him, those Claybone, that
That's
was his name,
sick, man.
Clayton da Silva.
Okay.
And a bunch of other riders, and I was like, it was just peering into this other dimension of riding that nobody had like ever seen.
Wow.
Really outside of, you know what I mean? If you're in the U.S., you're not seeing anything in Brazil at that time.
Wow.
So you're just like peering through this window and seeing like crazy riders, and I was like, whoa! And I started posting those, and then I decided to do how-tos.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, people are watching. Like, why don't you just help people learn tricks? So I was like, let me just make this little thing where it's like, if you have the first level was no skills.
No skills.
So he
That's
had no
probably where I
skills
was.
on the bike. Yeah, no skills on the bike. You could just watch one of those things.
Okay.
I can't even remember what tricks I had on there, but it was called no skills.
Yeah.
And then I had beginner, and then I had like Jedi Knight and Jedi Master, and those
Sick.
you could like kind of go through the progression of them. And I had little write-ups on them, and that was it. Real simple. So it was like a little Flatland course, online.
So when
course.
you texted me about the Flatland online course,
Yeah.
is that what it was?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
all it was.
Okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
it's really simple, dude. I mean,
Damn,
it's
so
like
I
real
took the
simple.
course.
Yeah, basically.
I didn't pass.
It
at
was
all.
free. It was free. Like, you know.
That's
And,
really, man, that's admirable because, like, for you to have found that tool of technology
Yeah.
and, like, to help people, like, I don't know, there's something in me that's really fascinated with people that want to push the sport, and, like that thing with Khaled, where he was teaching a bunch of students with his friend, and they're, like, getting bikes, like, that just, that puts such a big smile on my face to think that somebody could, because Flatland's a very, like, you focus on yourself a lot, like, it's something you work so hard at for yourself.
Yeah.
But to take it and to find a tool like the technology at that time, and for you to be so forward thinking that, oh shit, I could show people how to do some of this stuff.
Yeah, I had kind of already done that though.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, it was a different era than right now, you know what I mean? So it's kind of when I was 15 years old, I made a TV show for community. It's like called community access television. So if you were a citizen of the city, you could have access to this TV station and make your own TV shows or whatever. And they were like, don't just view it, do it. And I was like, I want to do it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I want to make a BMX show. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not a pro. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I can do tricks, and I can help other kids in the neighborhood learn these tricks and how to like clean their brake pads and all this other stuff, and like pump up their tires and make sure they have air pressure and like all this stuff. Because that's what was happening out in the streets.
Okay.
These kids are like, dude, how'd you do that? And then I get on their bike and it's like, dude, your air pressure's at like 30. How you're not gonna, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or your brakes don't even work. Like, how are you gonna even do an endo or something like that? Like, how, you know, it was like all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Like, it doesn't matter that I'm not like a big name pro or anything like that.
No,
but I can at least help these people and make the show. And like, that's what I did.
That's impressive, man.
And so when it came to the internet or whatever, I was like, let's do the same thing. You know what I mean? I'll put these clips on there, and
kind of show more people, you know, at the same time,
yeah,
instead of doing it over and over, and doing it overseas. Like, to just randomly get an email from fucking Brazil.
Yeah, like, Brazil. There's another dude
crazy.
from France. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Oliver Blikta or something like that.
Okay.
And he sent me some footage or whatever. And yeah, there's a few people. There's somebody in South America sent me something too. And so I had this like world scene kind of thing coming up. But I was never like a computer science major or anything like that. I just did it on the side. So I never really could understand like where it was all going or anything like that. You know what I mean? It was just something that I did, and I thought it was awesome. The only thing I could think about was like, one day this little tiny video that isn't even at 30 frames a second will one day be like your TV. That's the only thing I could think of. But other than that, like, I didn't understand programming. I knew HTML, but I just kind of taught myself like basic stuff or whatever, so I could build a web page.
You were way smarter than I was
like,
at that age. Oh my god.
but yeah, I didn't like, if I was a computer science major, like I probably would have understood like where programming can take things, and like been like, oh dude, we can do this and that, and if we do, you know what I mean? It was just more like, oh, I just do this for fun, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's immersion in that thing.
Yeah.
You would have gone further with learning more about it. But even still, to have cracked the code that far at that age is like, especially with, like, now it's like, I want to learn how to code YouTube. How do I code?
Oh, yeah,
boom, boom, boom. There you go. You're set. But like back then, for you to really like to get to the nuts and bolts of something like that is, I mean, I guess it helps when you have like a mission behind it, where you're like, you got this idea that you want to get out there, or even just to see if it works.
Yeah, like, I remember my sister gave me for my birthday, my older sister gave me the thing, build your own website or something like that.
That's sweet.
And it was like this little program or whatever, and I just started figuring it out, and I saw the code behind it, and I started looking at it, and I was like, oh, this is how it's done. Oh, I see how they're doing it. And then all of a sudden I could just make all this stuff, you know? And
yeah, you were way smarter than I was. I was like, I know how to put the tape of Jurassic Park in the VCR and press play. That's about as far as I had at that age. That's crazy. So your website, was that Diversion?
No. It's just called Bobby's BMX Freestyle World.
BMX Freestyle. You know what? That even sounds damn familiar too. It's that's crazy, man. That's super cool. So like, first, are you okay in the sun?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, cool. Let me know if you want to move at any point. We can go grab these lawn chairs.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's nice.
I'm fine right now.
It's like a nice breeze coming in, and like,
dude, look at this environment, man.
Yeah, I really
in paradise.
There's like a filter on this thing that turns off like ambient background noise.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. It's like, I left it on because the birds are. It's super nice here. Like, I don't know, just the vibe of being here.
Dude, Hawaii is a very special place.
Yeah, we're super lucky that we came here. Because certainly, like, Jess, my wife and I, we've been talking about like we do traveling and then we do vacations as well. So like, a vacation has always been to me like an all-inclusive trip to Mexico or something like that. Where, because, you know, you don't have to take care of shit. Basically, the only thing you have to do is show up at the airport. And you're done. Right. But like, this is obviously a little more work to put this together to come here. But like, it's, I don't know, man. Like, I think this is, I could easily see this as being like the spot like for a vacation. Like
It is.
it's crazy, man. It's yeah, I don't know. I want to ask you more about your move and stuff in a bit here, but like I wanted to talk like about Diversion as a start. Like when did you start Diversion as like a brand and like an idea?
That started in actually 1999.
Okay.
With Explorations, which is pretty much a snapshot of the California scene at that time. It was called like Diversion Motion Pictures or something. Like, I just called it that.
Okay.
Because basically what I was trying to do was I wanted to pay attention to the actual filmmaking process. Because I was in graduate school for like film at the time, right? Okay. So I was trying to like apply all that stuff, you know, to BMX videos, because usually it was like somebody just films it wherever they are in their parking lot, like backgrounds, like whatever. They just film the trick and put it together and put some tracks on there, whatever. But for Explorations, it was like, okay, like how are we going to like structure this video? Where are we going to shoot it at? What's the location going to be? Okay. You know, what's the background of it look like? Right. All that stuff I wanted to start putting in that, which is why I called it Diversion, like motion pictures.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do some sort of BMX concept, because I was, you know, what's the next thing for the videos? You know, what are you going to do? You know, I was like, well, Diversion. I knew I wanted to capture that, at least in those times, like Flatland was, you know, a divergent lifestyle from, you know, the mainstream or whatever. Yeah. And there was like all these different styles out there and people from all over the world doing it. And I was like, so it was like very diverse. And then diversión in Spanish means fun.
Really?
And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, that's the name right there.
Sweet,
you know?
man.
And that's how the name Diversion came up.
That's really cool.
But I didn't really start that series until like 2002.
Okay.
I made that video in 2000, Explorations in like 2000. Right. And then there was just too much work at school.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it was like super intense. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to make another video for like 2 years. Okay. Everyone's like, dude, that's so long. You're not going to make another? Like, what? I'm like, yeah, not for like 2 years or something like that. I don't know. And it's funny because that seemed like a long time, but you know, that's just like a little blip now. Yeah.
Well, that's good you got back on it, because
well, I already had it in the plan. I was like, as soon as I finish this school stuff, you know, the project, I'm going to start the next one. And I had all that time to think about what was I going to do.
That's cool. So you put a lot of thought into like the preparation to getting back on the train with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that I like stopped it, like fell off, like, oh, I'm not making any videos. It was like, no, the production schedule is in 2 years. Gotcha. We're going to start that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
it probably gave you a lot of time to like through school and everything, like to learn a lot about like if you had like gone on with it, like I'm sure it would have been dope, but like the product that started ensuing at that point, like which is kind of where I, you know, started with, you know, when I started flatlanding, I looked for the most easiest stuff to find. And Diversion was like the first one, obviously, and like that and intricate KGB stuff, and like it was just such a good product. Like it seemed like it came from such a knowledgeable and like well produced. Like have you ever seen the show? I was still am a massive fan of Departures.
No, I never saw that.
Oh, dude, really? Oh my god, you gotta watch it.
Dude, I don't even watch TV, dude.
It's on Netflix.
Crazy. Oh, it's on Netflix? Yeah. All right, so I'll look it up.
It's so it's a travel documentary series, and it's these two dudes with a filmmaker, and they're from Canada, and they're just like you and I, like just chill dudes. They like kicking back and doing whatever, but they go travel all across the world, and they got a budget from I think it was the Travel Channel or whatever it was in Canada. But like, so they had a budget to do it, obviously, but like, it seemed like a dude who's filming it who was quite similar to you. I'm actually really surprised you never even heard of it, because the quality of it is super similar. Like, it's crazy good music, and just the filming is absolutely incredible. And I always thought of Diversion as like Departures with Flatland.
Is it related with Lonely Planet at all?
Could have been,
because there was like a show on the Travel Channel, which I loved, which was called Lonely Planet.
Okay, yeah.
And they went all over the world. The soundtracks were awesome. Oh man, like it was like amazing. And I was like, that was one of the things that really influenced me, actually.
Man, we should pause this podcast and go
I don't
watch
know.
like a couple.
You know, maybe episodes. It was called Departures in Canada. I don't even know. You know what I mean? Sometimes in different places they change the names of the shows.
I do also remember Lonely Planet, so it might have been a different show. But if you like I'm absolutely shocked that you haven't seen it, because it's
Yeah.
so like similar, not similar, but it's just the vibe is like exactly what you would love. It's like the music is incredible. What are they talking about? We got an announcement coming from the beach across the road here. Did you hear the word shark attack?
Not yet. But that's probably what he's saying, you know.
There's a dude floating out in the water. There's a fin around you.
There's a tiger shark out there. I hope you know.
Well, if we hear any sirens going by, maybe we'll move closer to the pool. Cancel the swim session in the ocean after. And anybody that'll listen to this podcast, like if you, it's just cool, man. Like I love exploration of anything, and especially in a documentary. Like each episode was an hour long, and it's just produced super well. Like the cinematography is beautiful. Yeah. The culture of what they go and experience is really cool, and just the choice of music is like really, really amazing. It fits super well. And I also really liked your choice of music in Diversion. Everywhere you went, it just like, I don't know, man. Like I always looked for like a soundtrack of like the music from your DVDs. Where did you get your music from?
A lot of different sources.
Really? I was hoping you would say, "Oh, I made it all and I have it here on my iPhone."
No, yeah, right. A lot of it was like just underground music and artists.
Cool.
AF the Naysayer, Amal, gave me some stuff. That was more towards the end of the series.
Okay.
At the beginning, like it was a period where people were like making all sorts of music, and I was in Los Angeles, and so I'd like hear a track or something, maybe on like university radio or something like that. I'd call them up, like, dude, who is that? I really like that. Oh, it's so and so, and maybe I get to their website and they live in Los Angeles, and I'd be like, email them, hey man, I'm making this BMX video. You think I can use your music in my video? Oh yeah, man, that would be awesome. Blah blah blah. And so that's kind of just how I would start getting the tracks.
That's cool, man.
And for that series, I actually did get like permission and like written permission and clearance for everything.
That's good. Like, hey, dude, that smells good.
Yeah,
nice work.
I'd share, but Reed's just not gonna cut it.
Yeah, you too, buddy. We're surrounded by barbecues right now, so as people cooking up lunch right now, smell good burgers. But yeah, that's cool, man. It's cool because like doing it with kind of independent. I mean, the term independent artist is kind of a weird one, but like someone like that would be really stoked probably to get their music out there, and especially on a final product that looked as good as yours. It's like fuck, it was just so palatable whether you know anything about Flatland or not. Like it's just an enjoyable experience to watch those DVDs, and the music was good. And
well, that was the point. The point of it was like, can we make a video about Flatland that anybody can sit down and watch it and understand something about the Flatland lifestyle, and maybe learn something about the world at the same time. So that was like the ultimate goal of it, you know. I mean, there's other videos out there that were like, you know, like Intricate was awesome,
right?
And like his point was to cover like the most leading, like progressive tricks ever to be thrown down in riding history. Yeah, you know, that was what he did, and it was like underground with like graffiti, and like he would have like all these underground LA rappers and stuff on the tracks, and hip hop artists on the tracks. And it was awesome, you know what I mean? And then for me, I wanted to make a video that anybody can watch.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. Yeah. My wife watched a few of them with me.
Yeah,
and
see,
she doesn't know shit about Flatland. She's like, oh, these are really cool.
Yeah.
It's it is cool. It's cool that you had that approach too, because like to make it understandable for most people is kind of a tricky thing to do. Yeah, because it is something like Flatland. It looks like magic to someone who's never seen it before, and it's kind of like also been something for myself with this podcast. Is like, I'm not a pro. I'm still an amateur, and I don't know everything about Flatland, which is obviously evident if you listen to me talk about Flatland for a few minutes. It's like
you're learning,
but and I like learning, right? And I like being upfront about that. But I also like, I wanted the podcast to be for beginners as well, and it's kind of become. That's kind of what a focus of that has been for me. Is like I hear the most from amateurs who are like, I really enjoyed that, and I'll do another one. So it's like, I know as an amateur how valuable it was. Like I heard a podcast with Marty and Vicky, and that was from like some podcast in Luxembourg or something like that. And as a beginner, I was like, holy shit! Like this is I get to listen to like something about Flatland, and you know, But to do it where it's not totally over someone's head is tricky, and to do it visually, like with the DVD, is like that'd be tough. But you did a really good job of it, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
yeah. I just wanted to like represent like the global community. I didn't make it to all the countries, so sorry. I didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't make it to all of them, but
yeah,
you know, there's stories. There's stories. Every rider has a story. Doesn't even matter if they're like super pro or, you know, just beginning or whatever. There's an interesting story that people have, and especially in those days where there was like not that much information about all these different scenes around the world.
For sure.
I just really wanted to tell that story, you know.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's like, yeah, I really admire that you did that, because for someone like me, it was like, yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna look up Flatland and try and learn it, and it's like, you know, YouTube. Some of the first hits is like your stuff, and it was like right from the get go. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like it's just the vibe of what you did with those DVDs was. Like, it was a lifestyle thing as well as riding. And
really, I mean, it was actually like basically once again another dream that came reality, which was, you know, one of my goals was like, I just want to go around the world and ride with riders at their spots.
That's sweet, man. Like
as a rider, I want to go to all these different spots around the world where riders are riding and just be with them. That was like one of my ultimate goals.
That's amazing. And you went by yourself?
Yeah. Everything was by myself.
How did you set it all up? Like, so again, going back to our text thread, you mentioned that you were like pretty active online to set up like meeting riders and like everywhere, like literally everywhere. Especially if you watch the DVDs, like you go almost everywhere.
Yeah, there's always like a loose plan, but things just kind of happen. So I usually had at least one person who I would contact.
Okay.
And that they tell me like, oh yeah, there's riders out here, blah blah blah. Like if you come, I'll help you. And I'd be like, okay, cool. You know, when's the best dates for me to go over there or whatever, when you could have time to like help me or whatever, and set it up and then go out there, and then that's pretty much it. Wow. And as soon as you get there, it's like, okay, we're gonna go to this spot, that spot. Here's this rider. I called up all my friends. I told them you were here. Yeah. And like everyone comes to the riding spot, and then you start meeting all these different people, and once in a while there might be some event going on or something else, and you know, you just kind of take advantage of the opportunities as they show up.
That's sweet, man. So where did you get, like, because traveling by yourself, like that's a real, like it's like a jump into like an unknown abyss. Like you kind of know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're actually in for, and like to have that drive to do it is, I don't know, that's pretty cool, man.
I guess I kind of don't think about things like that. I never really thought about those things like that. It was just kind of like I prepared. I have some sense what I'm gonna do, or at least where I'm gonna stay, and then go from there.
Wow.
When I went to Japan, I did prepare a lot for that.
Okay.
Because I knew that people didn't really speak English that much. Yeah. I'd actually been to Japan once before with my mom and my grandfather, like way back in like '96. So I kind of knew, you know what I mean? Like, okay, they don't speak English that much. Okay. There. So, and if I'm going to be by myself, I better be prepared. So let me learn some Japanese, at least some basic stuff, you know. And so that's what I did. And that trip was like amazing. That was for like 5.0.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it was like on our side in America or whatever, we're seeing like dudes like York Uno, Kotaro Tanaka, Akira, like all these dudes come over, and they come through and they're like awesome. And it's like, dude, where are these guys coming from? You know what I mean? They're from Japan, but like, what's it like over there? Like, how come all these awesome riders are coming out of Japan? Like, we don't know anything about Japan. Yeah. Like, nothing. Because you can't open a magazine and see a bunch of stuff from Japan or anything like that. No. So it was like, okay, let's go. You know, or I was like, I'm going. Yeah. And I just went, and then crazy stuff happened. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of like one story. Oh, so, you know, I'm just me. I'm just a rider, dude. Yeah. You know, like from Ann Arbor. You know, a small college town that just like to ride a lot and make some videos. So that's kind of how I always like see myself or whatever. Because I'm just doing it, you know, like And so I end up in Japan, and coincidentally, like I said, stuff happens. Like, you don't know, you don't prepare. All of a sudden, here's Marty and Vicky. They just started KGB, and they're going on a tour around Japan. And they're there, coincidentally, at the same time I'm there. And so all of a sudden,
that's unbelievable.
I end up meeting the Ken-san, who's like the distribution owner of the distribution, Japan, JYKK.
Okay.
And he's friends with the dude I'm staying with, and he's like, "Oh, Marty and Vicky are coming. Like, we're gonna do a tour. Do you want to come and like film and stuff like that?" And I'm like, "Sure, okay." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's like, "You guys can just stay in this house in the hills or whatever, and I'll pick you up tomorrow morning, and we'll go on this tour. We're gonna hit Tokyo." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And like Yama, he didn't ride for KGB, but he also rode for the distribution company, Ryoji Yamamoto. And like, he comes, right? And like, we're in this house in the hills in Japan somewhere, like old Japanese house, like traditional, like sliding doors, all that stuff. And I'm like there with Marty, Vicky, and Yama, and I'm like, dude, this is like crazy. How did I get here?
Wow, you're bumping elbows with like the most unbelievable Flatland.
Yeah, in my head, I was just like, wow, this is not. How am I in this position right now?
Necessity for the hockey game.
You forgot. Oh, nice. Yeah,
Cool.
you too, man. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, maybe you should edit that, and I don't know if you want to.
I'll probably leave it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I'm like, how am I in this position where I'm like in this house, in the middle of like seemingly nowhere in Japan?
Yeah.
And I'm with Vicky, Marty, Yama, and like some of my favorite writers or whatever. And I'm like, and I'm there to film.
That's crazy, man.
And yeah, we went around Tokyo and some other spots, Yokosuka, and and 5.0 starts being born. I had no previous plan for that to happen. It
Crazy,
just did,
man.
and I was like, this is a good story. Like, these dudes are here going through all the riding spots.
Yeah.
And like, this needs to be filmed, and somehow I'm going to tell this story. And I'm going to and I met all these other riders.
Wow.
There's Moto Sasaki, before he had like an injury, riding as a beginner. He wasn't a beginner. Like, he was like already pretty dope. But
he was like amateur level at that time, I think. Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was his injury again?
I can't remember exactly, but
he
anyways,
thought about quitting. Because
yeah.
of his injury.
But this was like before that.
Yeah.
And like, he showed up, but nobody knew who it was. Uchi was there. Nobody knew who he was.
Wow.
Like, but they were good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're good riders, and like, I don't know. So all of a sudden, and then Kotaro was there, who I'd already met in '99 in California. So once again, it was like, okay, cool. Like, here's somebody else that can kind of show me around, all this kind of stuff. And so, and Green G, I don't know if you know.
I'm not familiar with
Green G is Yasu. He was the organizer of KOG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never met, obviously,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, so in Japan, there's these dudes who are like, kind of like, I don't know if they're really the first generation, but they are like the first generation to like really create the scene in Flatland.
Gotcha.
And it's like Akira, Hiro, Kotaro, York Uno, and I think Seiji Sakata and some other ones. These are like the core dudes who like were like, we're gonna build the scene in Japan. And Yasu was one of those dudes,
Wow.
So he was the main dude behind KOG, and he took amazing photographs and stuff too.
Cool.
So we also went on like different missions around the world.
Yeah.
BMX missions, like Singapore and all that stuff. It was amazing.
Good contacts to make, like, especially traveling. Like, it just you make friends that you'll never lose. Like, you might not see them in 10 years, but it's like.
And that's the thing. Here's the deal. Like, kind of off topic, but kind of similar like BMX. Like, I can't envision quitting BMX or riding because of how much it brings to my life beyond just doing the tricks.
Yeah.
For example, I was part of this technology entrepreneurs group, and there was a trip down to St. Martin in the Caribbean, and so I was on there without nobody rides. You know what I mean? It was just me and like, because I was doing Divergent TV and stuff. So
yeah, okay.
So that's how I ended up like kind of in this group, and I'm there. Some of these dudes are like balling out of control with like crazy money, made millions or whatever. Other dudes are like more beginners or whatever. But anyways, they're there, and all of a sudden I'm calling up my friend Bad Bush. a rider that lives there.
I think I've met that dude.
Maybe he come to Canada.
Yeah, I think I met him at
he
Real
hung
City
out with
Spin.
Dub. Yeah.
Yeah,
he
I
went
met
to
him at Real City Spin. That guy's hilarious. Yeah, shout out to that guy. He's super nice.
Yeah, and I'm hitting him up, and he's like, "Oh, you're here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like on his scooter coming to the side of the aisle, and like people are like, "Wait, you know people here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "How do you know people here?" Like, I'm like, "Dude, it's BMX."
Yeah.
And he came and picked us up and like showed us around like real St. Martin, like the neighborhoods, took us to like local places, like, and the other like technology entrepreneur dudes were like, we just saw like the real St. Martin, not this resort kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like we went to the real, like we saw all like, we did all this stuff, and like they're like super stoked, and I was just like, yo, that's BMX. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's something really interesting with BMX. Like it's almost like a phenomenon of it crosses a language and culture barrier.
Yeah.
Like there's, like for you to go to Japan or whatever, you don't need to speak the language. You can literally hang out. You can stay with people. You know, I've been lucky enough to meet several guys from Japan, and they don't speak much English, and I certainly don't speak any Japanese, at least yet. I'd like to, but you don't need to. You can session, and like you're doing something that's so similar but so difficult that it like crosses that barrier and culture. Like I would imagine that for the amount of traveling you've done, that's really been a theme that you've learned a lot about. Hey?
Oh yeah, it's awesome because like when you go to all these places, like you're actually living how they're living. I think that's why I always went, like, sometimes I went and there was like an event or a contest that I went, but I never really tried to like, oh, this contest is going on, let me go then.
Okay.
I would go in like random times that were like more convenient either to the rider or whatever.
Okay.
And like, so in that case, I'm showing up at a regular session. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing what they normally do on a regular day. You know what I mean? And so you're getting like a totally different experience. Like, so I had already been going to Japan like a bunch.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden here comes Red Bull Circle of Balance, and they invited me to go. You know what I mean? And I could film some stuff, right?
Wow.
And so I'm there, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is a totally different experience than if you were to come without the contest. Not saying the contest scene was bad or anything like that. It was amazing. Like, it was an awesome event.
Yeah.
But it's totally different than rolling up on the regular spot on a regular day.
Yep.
And watching these guys ride. You know what I mean? Like, and so yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's basically changed my whole life, basically.
Yeah.
Being able to see people in different cultures, like as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's sweet. You're like certainly a person that I was like number one on my list to talk to for the podcast, because like you have immersed yourself in so many different ways in Flatland that it's I mean you hear some people call it a sport, or even worse, some people call it like a hobby, which I fucking can't stand that, because god damn it, it's not a hobby. It's
it's
like,
a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, man, and it changed my life. Like I was a different person before I found Flatland, like legitimately, and in you know, fitness, sure, but like also like just my temperament and focus, and like I played competitive hockey for years, like, and that's what I did. I was like, I don't know, I loved it, and I still love that sport, but it's like when I discovered Flatland and I rode for like a year, I quit hockey. I was like, this is it. Like this just works so much more aligned with like my lifestyle and the person I am now, I guess. And
I guess I was always a creative person. I mean, even let's just say before I got like hardcore Flatland, you know what I mean, trying to ride every day, like I was always into like drawing.
Cool.
Like elementary school, and like I would try to draw cartoons, and I would always just like try to come up with stuff, and so all that kind of just translated into like, okay, now I'm making videos and creating that. And Flatland and BMX or freestyle at the time was, there's no rules, you create whatever you want it to be. And I really liked that. Like I tried to play basketball, and it was okay, but I didn't like just the structure of it, and not being able to do whatever I wanted to do. Like, and so for me, it's always been BMX for my whole life was mostly on the creative side of things. Yeah. You know what I mean? More than the sports side of things, it's more been for the creative side.
That's great, man. I mean, it's almost as important to do those sports and discover you're not that. I mean, it's cool and like you love sports and stuff, but like this
gives you a reference point of like what you actually want to do,
what you want to do, and more importantly, what you don't want to do. It took me obviously a long time to discover that I don't really align well with the team aspect of sport, which is fucked up because I played a team sport for so long. But like my wife, she runs marathons.
Okay.
And she did that for quite a long time, like when we first started dating, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and she liked it because she didn't do well with team sports, and she loves the self-competitiveness and the setting goals and like, the reverse engineering from an event to like reach a goal. And it like just resonated so much better with someone like her. And now I completely understand that. I don't know. Maybe it's just that it took me a long time to shift preferences, and
everybody's on their own journey, you know what I mean, and they figure it out. But I mean, for me in the era that I like, late 80s when I first started, all of action sports, we wouldn't even call it action sports, you know what I mean, at the time.
It's a fun name for it, yeah.
All that was counterculture. It was like, we are not doing what the trendy kids in school are doing. We are following our own path. We are in an area where we will be free to do whatever we want and create whatever we want. And that was exactly what I was into in my mindset. I have a blank page and I draw a cartoon, whatever I want that day.
Yeah.
And Flatland was the same thing, or in doing tricks on the bike and BMX, all that was like the same thing. I can do whatever I want. And I can build whatever and make it how I want it to make it. And that's what it's always been. And I think because of that, I've carried that into other aspects of my life. And because I've stayed on that, I don't even understand quitting. Like, I don't think I'll ever quit.
Yeah.
And even if I don't do tricks anymore on a bike, I haven't quit. I'm still, BMX is still creating, still in that same mindset. Like, once you're a rider, like, it's like you're a rider.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're in it like the way I'm in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, the way you're in it. You've been a rider, but you're also a content creator.
Yeah.
Where you've given content that will last. It will, if you stop riding when you're 85 because you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, whatever, you know what I mean?
They don't have a good
still,
spot at the old folks home. There's still something that will continue, man. And that's amazing. Like, that's, it is a culture, and the fact that you can contribute to the culture other than riding, as well as riding at the same time, but like, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty special for sure.
Yeah.
How you doing? You want to relocate?
Yeah, you're getting hot.
I'm fucking hot.
Okay.
Let's pause this. Let's see how
Is it going pretty good so far?
We're an hour. That's so fun.
Okay.